What is up, everyone? This is the Siberian here, and here we are with the second part of that two-part battle replay in the midst of my own winged hussars. Probably the coolest looking unit in the game. Probably one of the coolest looking units in history. Yeah, this is pretty much the only reason why you would play as Poland, Lithuania right here. Just for these guys. They are epic. But yeah. This is Battle Replay, what, number 9? And this is directly after Blake R and I suffered a defeat in the last Battle Replay against Gustav and Joelius Cesar. And we wanted a rematch, and they agreed. So this took place directly afterwards. Same armies, same everything, but we got another shot. I'm not running EEM 2.2. I'm doing the one we fought with, so everything should be correct and accurate in this replay. The last one, I used the updated, the development build. New combat system, and everything was a little bit different, but it looked pretty. But this time we got the correct build, so everything should be right, and we are in for a good one. Another good one. 2 good ones back to back. Yes. So before I walk you through our army compositions, me and Blake R, since we got to see the French ones last time. Also encourage you to check out the last video. I'll have the link down in the description. But as you can see, I'm doing the same exact move as the last time, where I'm rushing forward this horse artillery to seize this hill. It goes a little bit better this time. But as far as my army compositions, I have 1 horse artillery and 2 12-pound howitzers. Along with that, I have a decent amount of cav, 2 regiments of horse, and 2 winged hussars. Over here I have conscripts and a line infantry. And then on this side I have, I don't know how many lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 line infantry, so I have 6 line infantry total, 1 conscript, and 3 light infantry. That's the build I was going with. Blake R is the British, has a couple of light infantry heading for the woods, some light cav, and regiments of horse. He has 2 units of Hessians, 1 colonial line infantry, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 solid blocks of line infantry. 2 units of mortars, I think. Where's that 3? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's 2 units. His general, his cav. So pretty solid build on Blake R's part. And check this out. We have another early engagement. Just like before, he charges cav forward. This time it goes a little bit better for me. I'll watch the slow motion clash. He is shooting into my group here, but this cav unit just barely manages to snag this one and prevent it from charging my cannons. You get a nice canister shot off, I think. But this is very different from last time. Joelius Cesar, I think, is on this flank. Yeah. Joelius Cesar is pushing a very different direction. He is coming way over on my left, his right flank, instead of being in the center. So now my troops are all shifted too far to the right. So as we will see, I'll lay out our overall strategy. everything happens here on this left flank at the start. So I'll start here. Alright, let's see. So as you can see, I have, well, right here, that was pretty spot on. Right here is my regiment of horse artillery with a little bit of cav. His cav came up to me, and then he's got all of this, which is his main block of forces. My forces currently are all kind of spread out in a double line over here, and you can't see it very well, but right along here there's a bit of a hill. Not huge. Its peak is right around here. But our overall, Blake R and I talked about our strategy, and I was gonna probe for where they were. Blake R was gonna do the same on his right flank. And then if they chose to both attack one of us, that person defends as long as they can while the other person keeps their troops in reserve. Because fresh troops at the end of a battle can be devastating. So I quickly pull back my cannons to the hill. I set up my howitzers in a couple places, put out stakes along this front, and just try and build up a nice defensive position to prevent, because Gustav ends up at least threatening and shooting cannons into my forces over here. So I'm in full defensive mode. I don't want to give up too much initiative. You know, I like to be aggressive, personality-wise, but in a 2v1, I can't afford to be too aggressive, especially with the numbers that Joelius Cesar was bringing. He brings a lot of line infantry. So yeah, that's the situation. So we'll go ahead and kick it into play when we hop back in there and check it out as it happens. Got my coffee. Mad King George. What a nice fellow. So very kind, you know? Alright, here we go. Let's kick it into play. Watch as... here's that cav engagement. For some reason, his light cav did really well against my regiment of horse, which I was kind of frustrated about. And I had this one in reserve, but I realized I need to withdraw. Luckily, this cav goes to the main cavalry fight instead of my artillery. I moved up my other cav just because if he charges this, I needed to countercharge, so that's what I go for. I just don't want my artillery to get taken out. Even though this artillery doesn't do all that much, it is helpful still. We have a nice cav engagement to start off. Meanwhile, on the flank, oh yeah, here's that hill I was talking about. So this is where I anchor my defense, right on that hill. Meanwhile, on the Polish and British right flank, Blake R is sending kind of a scouting group of line infantry forward. These light infantry took the trees. I told him because I started seeing this is Gustav's foreign troops. So I decided, I asked Blake R if he would advance, and if he doesn't find any major resistance, try and swing around and take out the artillery. Because I hate artillery. Alright, so that horse shattered, and this one breaks. It might shatter too. But they were good enough that they did good enough that I was able to get my stakes up in place, which makes a cav charge here pretty much impossible. That one's only broken. Don't run into the stakes now. Don't do it. No, stop. Oh gosh. Run this way. Maybe they'll phase through. I've noticed they do that sometimes. Oh, nice. Yeah, so we're getting some kills as the French form up on the hill opposite, and I have to defend on this flank because these troops threaten here. I probably didn't need 3 whole units. It's a little overkill. Oh, and this is cool. Look at that. There's a battery of 3-pounders. Yeah, 3-pound horse artillery. They send in volley after volley. Alright, my horses reform. That's good. I think I pulled him back. So I'm just trying to scramble together a defense. Until I probably could have moved this light infantry here and moved these line infantry over this way earlier, because it's pretty obvious that this is my weakness, right? These conscripts, although they're not terrible, are the least good troops I have, if that makes sense. And they're right next to a forest, which means his troops advancing get cover. So this is where I'm weakest, but it is supported by artillery, so. And I'm starting to realize that that is my weakness. I'm moving a line infantry and a light infantry over that way to hopefully be able to swap them out. And I have my winged hussars ready to pounce on any opportunities I can find. And the engagement kicks off. Maximum range. Getting a kill or two. I'm gonna get a sip of coffee. You know, this would be this particular replay would make a good like dramatic storytelling version. Like, I don't know if you guys would be interested in that ever, but like naming the hill and giving these line infantry stuff names, and you know, making it sound like a historical battle almost. You could do that in this one, because we get a bloody fight for this hill. That's what I would love to have in this game, is, and with this mod, is if I could get some custom maps to have like hill names on the map and stuff. Not like on the physical map, but on the mini map, so you could zoom in and say, okay, I'm gonna hold this. I'm gonna hold, you know. For some reason, Culp's Hill is stuck in my head. I'm gonna hold Culp's Hill, anchor my defense there. I don't know. That's the little role play in me. That barrage of artillery, killing a decent number of troops. My light infantry is able to harass his cav. We can't get to him because of the stakes. I mean, they could, but they would get pretty beat up. And I think Joelius here is making a good play where he's shifting more troops this way. I probably would have, instead of shifted the, well, he is advancing, so I can't see where he's going exactly. But you might have been a better move just to swing this one over and then swing another over and just kind of walk your troops slow and steady. But this continued flanking around the hill forces me to withdraw these guys, kind of get a better angle. These troops are finally getting into place. My light infantry that I pulled from over there a long time ago. And this threat is keeping like half my army occupied, when the real danger is over here. And I know the danger is over here. Oh, a winged Cesar charge. I missed it. Dang it. This is the danger side, but Gustav's threatening posture with his line infantry just prevents me from being able to reinforce this side very much. So that was a really well played combo between the two. So I charged my hussars in. He forms square, so I pull him back out, but I got a good number of casualties, nearly 50, and I only lost 20. So not the best winged hussar engagement, and I get better ones later, but not the worst either. Trying to wear him down. I have one howitzer trying to do explosive shot on this flank. See if I can take out some artillery. His artillery is doing the same with my artillery, so having a bit of a duel. And my horse artillery is now targeting these cannons, and I happened to get one before he unlimbered, which is fortunate. But now this flank is getting critical. You can see he's got lots of troops, and he's got this line infantry protecting his flank from the hussars. When you see this though, if you have two units of cav, go on opposite sides of it. It has to choose one side to face, and so you charge with the other unit. That's what I end up doing there. Yeah, so he's got his elite infantry on the flank. Keeps forcing me to withdraw and extending this flank. I should have committed these reserves a long time ago, but here they come. The initial skirmishing for the hill isn't going too terribly for me, but it's not going great either. Ooh, I think he got a good explosive shot or something here. But a lot of guys are still getting up. Looks like Blakar did a small cav charge over here and then withdrew back to Culp's Hill. We're just gonna call it Culp's Hill. They're working to just keep surrounding this flank. Yep, so I sandwiched his line infantry, and so he pulled it back. That was a good move. That was a nice artillery hit. I love the mini-map. Look at that. You can see the little shapes. And he's just got this massive line of infantry, and you can see how spread out mine is. He definitely has advantage of numbers. And so he charges in this elite infantry, but that exposes this light infantry. And so I feign as if I'm gonna charge this line infantry to force him into square, and then I instead just go right around him and charge with my hussars right into his light infantry, and I'm sending more reinforcements to defend. Let's watch the charge. I'll get it in slow-mo here. Yeah. Boom. Send him flying. It's kind of silly, but it sells the devastating impact that Cav would have. And that unit is gonna be just destroyed. Half their unit went down in just a few seconds. And then he tried to form up to fire on this with this unit, so I charge in and I send in my winged hussars in the back. He does form square. That was a good move. I am concerned about this melee. I fixed bayonets and these guys are trying to hold, but they're getting hit in the flank and by 3 units on the front, so I have to pull back more troops and line them up. Now these ones are exposed. This is in danger of being overrun. He's forcing me back off the crest of the hill. Here goes. I managed to break that unit even though it was in square. That's the power of the winged hussars. And immediately charge into the next unit. And this is where I did it better than the last round, is I kept these 2 units together. And together they are a lot more powerful. Over on this hill, the bloody melee finally finished and he's advancing. Once he peaks the crest though, he'll start taking some fire. And I clicked on them to attack that, and they had to reform, which I do not like. His infantry charged my cannons and wiped them out. I'm starting to pull back. I know, okay, Culp's Hill, it's lost. Time to fall back to, what's another good hill name? We'll say Bunker Hill. I did get a rear charge with the winged hussars, because this unit formed square, so you can charge a square, but then you can't stay in combat with a square as with winged hussars, because they will lose the overall melee, but they can still do damage in the charge. So this is a really good situation for me because my infantry will, when they fire, will hit the troops or they'll go over the heads, because my hussars are mostly on the backside of the hill. But now I'm pulling the hussars out and charging some infantry in. I think I fixed bayonets and the bloody melee begins. I don't know why they're facing the wrong way. Look at this massive melee. I did manage to shatter his elite infantry, which is a big win for me. But meanwhile, the rest of the army is now falling back. I know I can't hope to hold back this tide of Frenchmen. I can only hope to delay. And of course that is the strategy. I'm not trying to win, I'm just trying to inflict as many casualties as possible. I did manage to win that initial melee though. That was good. This here though is an issue on this flank, as he's sending more and more troops in. I left a light infantry to delay on this flank. I can't tell whose cav that was, but it looks like British cav accidentally charged the stakes. Blake R is sending some mortar fire in, and it looks like it's been pretty effective in places. And he's got a horde of cav over there. Now that's French cav, but so this is a good move. Thank you, Blake R, for distracting, even though you are our reserves. So I moved back. Now I'm at the base of Culp's Hill. You never want to try and defend the base of a hill. If you can't defend the top of a hill, you're not going to be able to defend the base of a hill. So I'm just taking my chance shots into the enemy, try and get a few more kills, and then I think I quickly withdraw. I'm also buying time for this artillery to take the heights, you know. Resting my hussars. Still having them as a threat. Yeah, just look at the bodies strewn across Culp's Hill. And just wait till this infantry moves on. What a bloody fight for the hill. But the French take it, forcing the Polish-Lithuanians off, though they take heavy casualties to do so. This line infantry had fixed bayonets, so I just sent them to charge, because they can't shoot anyways. So, they just rout anyways. Here we go, I'm falling back. I have to fall back this flank first because I need to get to here, and I have to protect this gap here. Those poor brave conscripts. Only 17 survived. I have my light infantry here. Looks like they can get a few shots in. Trying to hold back. Meanwhile, where is this? Oh, there's Blakar. Blakar's troops are still unmoved and so completely fresh. And the French are taking some serious casualties, assaulting first this hill, and now I'm going to fall back and defend this hill. So that was kind of our play, is wear down the enemy with one player and keep the other one fresh. Because once one player is defeated, you think, oh, this is going to be easy, it's a 2v1 now. But if that player's troops are all completely fresh and yours are all worn out and weakened from being in combat, it even if you outnumber them, you can still lose, if that makes sense. Because morale is bigger than numbers or even killing power in this mod. Quick coffee break. Alright, my howitzers are up on the ridge. I probably could have moved them back a little bit, but I just needed to have fire coming down. So I'm kind of doing that stair-stepping thing. I'll move a unit from over here towards the hill. And there was a dangerous gap here, but I did have a small unit of hussars to protect it, so. And look at this, I was totally distracted. These guys got charged in the flank. And I don't know what it is about the Colonial Light Cav. I don't know if I forgot to balance them, but they beat my winged hussars. They are only active, and oh, they take some friendly fire. Oh. Yeah, the friendly fire is what did it. Oh my goodness. Well, at least I know it's not the game balance broken, it's just my own idiocy. Alright, and I'm doing that stair-stepping thing again, moving units from the right. But this is becoming a danger. Oh, and look at this. Blakar gets a nice sneaking cavalry charge in. Great job. Snuck it in there. He has so many units of cannons though. That does prevent them from moving anymore though, which is good. Because those cannons could have made a big difference when they end up assaulting Blakar's position. Alright, just look at this bloody fight for the hill. Yikes, that's a lot of red-coated bodies. My poor Poles and Lithuanians. Oh, phasing through your body. And moving the next one. Trying to delay with this one. They really should have just charged, but sometimes you read light infantry as line infantry, and there's a danger. If they did charge, these guys are set to skirmish, so they would have fallen back. As you can see, I'm forming up my new defensive lines. Light infantry is taking this ridge on the left. Line infantry. Could have moved them a little further up. I think I do end up getting pushed back a little bit. And look at this, his howitzers. If Julius Caesar's howitzers on Culp's Hill with a great sight line. You just gotta unlimber now. Meanwhile, I wasn't able to rejoin these two, the light and line infantry, with my main forces. So I send up and try and hold this spot instead, this hill. Because that is another way I can be flanked and crushed, and, well, not to give away spoilers, but it does kind of happen. So I know I'm realizing at this point, okay, it's 2v1, I'm probably going to lose this. I mean, I'm definitely going to lose this. But I need to just keep falling back, not letting myself get trapped, and inflicting as much damage, as many kills as possible. So I'm picking targets, getting some good artillery shots in. Look at that, nice volley. Over here, running my troops away. This wasn't my best performance of a battle, but I definitely didn't do too bad. This is a threat though, and I didn't see it at all, but there is a huge mob of French cavalry coming towards this flank, and all I have on my left flank is light infantry. So I think whoever's cav that was, they noticed and decided to go for it. Now I do have these hussars, but they're getting hit by artillery, and Joelius Caesar in the chat was like, I hate your hussars. So, or it's like, they're so annoying. Which, yeah, they are, because they're so good. I got some support from the mortars of Blake R, which is nice. Forming the troops up along the ridge, but of course they're very much outnumbered. And these ones broke. I don't know exactly what happened, because they have a lot of troops. That was a big issue. I rushed my general forward to rally them, but Joelius Caesar wisely takes advantage, and I have to shift over troops who are already wavering or getting hit by cannons. That becomes less than ideal. He probably should have just kept charging, but his troops are winded, very tired. Those ones are fresh, but they're light infantry. So I get why he stopped to fire. Trying to get my general to rally these troops so I can send them back and plug that hole in my line. These ones though are holding the line very well. They're about to take a massive volley. Yeah. The rest are reforming. Line infantry won't reform. On this flank, these guys are set to fall back. I was gonna have them put up stakes and everything, but They get charged by cav too quick and absolutely wiped out. This line infantry is doggedly holding the ridge, but it's pretty much inevitable that they will fall at this point. And I'm realizing, okay, there's just mere moments left of my existence as a fighting force. These guys did rally finally. I don't know if I don't think I noticed yet. I did see the cav moving this way, and so I started pulling back my light infantry at least up into the trees. That way they're better protected. Now that unit breaks, so I do some desperate maneuvers. I charge this one just to hold them back. I figured if he's stuck in a melee here, at least for a little while, he might send troops that way to support. But he doesn't. I have to charge in, I think, my light infantry. My howitzers are barely getting out of there in time. My general might even come charging in. This line infantry now is heading this way because there's all this cavalry coming. But the cavalry gets hit hard by those mortar, Blikar's mortars. Look at that, 20 troops left. So yeah, everything is falling apart very quickly here. See if I can get a good volley off. It's our light infantry, so I didn't want to get into melee with them. That line infantry broke. These lights are still falling back, but I am bare bones as far as military power goes. And these ones, I was like, well, this cav pulled back, which was good. That gave me a little bit of time, so I rushed this one back over. This one reformed just before it routed off the map. And I send them forward, just trying to cobble together a last-ditch defense. I successfully pulled back my howitzers. They're now preparing to fire. Just trying to get the last few kills in there. Let's form up this one on the right flank. It's surprisingly stabilized. I didn't think I would be able to stabilize this for any amount of time, but I did for a little bit. Just getting the last few kills I can. Oh, look at all the bodies. Yeah, I think I lost more than I killed in this battle, just because my forces routed and got run down. But in actual combat, I think I came out on top. I'm not sure. But I definitely damaged the combat power of Joelius, Cesar, and a little bit of Gustav, but mostly Joelius. Alright, these units were bigger and these were elite troops, so I targeted them with the artillery. Charge forward my line infantry, and I think they actually end up breaking the enemy line infantry, which was really funny. It's like, wow, you guys are the best. 233 against 147, so, and my guys have their bayonets plugged. I guess that makes sense. Light infantry is now all that's protecting my cannons. That light infantry is broken. I send the Siberian himself charging into the enemy elites. There he is. I think. Was that him? No. I think he dies here in a second. Getting the last few kills I can. Look at this line infantry bravely holding. Breaking. Okay. You did well. Oh yeah, I think my general just died. Yeah. So that was kind of the signal that my troops were gonna fall back. Oh, I plug bayonets and go for a charge. I don't even think they get there though. Well, maybe. Come on, take it. Ooh, yeah, that flanking volley just did not do good things. And there is my army down. And that was the biggest part of the fight, probably, was this. Not a full 2v1, because I know Gustav sure had more troops than this, but I was facing two opponents. That was by our battle plan, but look at all these bodies. And this is a long one. We're already at like 40 minutes, so I'm gonna speed it up because there's a little while of reforming, but we can actually watch this. So now my troops are all gone. That's all that's left. They're shattered, so they can't reform. Ooh, nice. But these troops are all visible still. And Blake R is just, it's a pretty devastating mortar. This is like the ideal mortar range. As they get closer, the mortars are less effective and less accurate. So he gets a lot of good hits in here. And to compound that, the cavalry charge earlier that went into these cannons, even though those cannons weren't killed, they got immobilized. Meaning they couldn't, their horses ran off, so they can't move them anymore. Oof. Look at that absolutely devastating explosive shot on these elite infantry who are less than half their number now. And I noticed that there's a sizable force that was fighting me up on this far left flank. And I was telling Blake R, like, hey, they're gonna go for this tall hill. Call it Lookout Mountain. And I was telling him to rush some troops up here, which he does, which is good. Because there's not much of a threat from this way. It doesn't need 3 line infantries, but he knew what he was doing because it works out pretty well. These guys are all just very tired. They've been fighting this bloody battle all over these, from Culp's Hill to what was this? Bunker Hill. And now they're heading towards Lookout Mountain. I don't know. I just came up with the names. You can come up with better ones on your own. This unit is only winded and it has its full strength, so it's a powerful unit still. There's I think that's Joelius, but I'm not sure which general that is. Ooh. Taking that destructive fire. Alright, here goes that line infantry heading up to this ridge. There's all that's left of my poor troops. So we can zoom in on the defensive flank here. So I think the plan of Joelius Caesar and Gustav was swing up, take this hill, and then you have, or take Lookout Mountain. And you got a great vantage point to sweep down and take out the rest of the British. but a combination of factors make this attack just get halted very quickly. Oh. Oh. My goodness. Yeah, this is brutal. You couldn't even see the unit here. And aiming for this one, it blew up part of that one. Gustav is now sending forward some of his reserve troops, and it becomes a fairly big formation on this area. These guys are active, but they still are much more fresh than the majority of the French. Very tired, very tired, very tired. Active, confident, or winded, fresh. So they have some fresh units, but they're taking artillery fire. And here comes the French attack on the British now. And the British hold strong. And these troops he sent over to take the hill, to take Lookout Mountains, Lookout Hills, Lookout Ridge, I don't know, Lookout Mountains, slopes, are just barely arriving in time, but they do manage to get there in time, and there is the first British volley that I know of. Hessians. Ooh. Oh, that was a good one. There's nothing much you can do about this as the French, though, because you've used a lot of your cav. They are brave men marching into fire. And here they go with a charge. I don't know if this was the smartest choice, just because your troops are tired and his are fresh. But he does successfully triple team this unit in melee, which was a good move. Blikar does a good counter, as we'll see in a second. These line infantry are trying to form up on the hill. And this line infantry was not able to make it. I think they were already pretty weak. But over here, they are winning against the Hessians, who plugged bayonets. But this cav unit ends up being a deciding factor. This is well used, and this is a good situation for cav. Because that colonial breaks. These Hessians are now losing troops, or a third of the way out of troops. But this rear, or at least flanking cavalry charge has some devastating effects. Because these troops went from, winning against an outnumbered foe to now being flanked by cavalry, and that is a scary thing. Look at this, the British holding the hill, holding Lookout Ridge, Mountain. I'm sorry, I should be able to use my own names. And the French just recklessly charging forward unit after unit in waves. And look at that, the cav managed to break this clump of exhausted Frenchmen. And that one. The Hessians stay close on their heels. His light infantry that he had earlier hidden in the woods ambushes the reserve troops, making him peel off some of his forces, so he has less of a hammer strike come in. These Hessians, man, they did good work, staying close, causing more of a chain rout. They even shattered this unit that was still very healthy, but managed to shatter it, breaking that one. And this was kind of inevitable. This was tired Joelius Caesar's troops trying to take on fresh British troops and getting hit by cav. So I didn't expect any different result really. But these troops over here are still fairly fresh, although they are getting hit hard by artillery. The Hessians, look at that. No fear. Oh, and it's causing this massive chain rout. I wonder if Gustav's general died at some point. Because these troops are breaking a little bit too easy for normal. Look at that, here they go for a charge. Over in the woods, here come the French charging in against the British light infantry, but the Brits managed to hold on. Yeah, they're exhausted. They took fire while charging. Meanwhile, back in the main front, this chain rout is pretty devastating, and this is probably the biggest loss right here, is Joelius Caesar's prized howitzers, man. They did so much good work against my infantry. Get panicked by the rest of the routing forces and end up routing without even getting to deploy. Or maybe they deploy a little bit, but their troops run off, which is a big loss, because yeah, there they go. He would have been able to do some damage to those dense British formations, but instead they get panicked by enemy. Oh, some devastating artillery still. So this battle swung from what seemed like a clear French victory against me in the polls to all of a sudden now the French are on the ropes. The units are breaking. They had a mass rout on this flank. Little cav engagement. The general's bodyguard is winning, I guess, because they have winded and these ones are exhausted. Let's see. Alright, and the British have successfully pushed back, held off the French waves. And there's just a few desultory fights from here on out. So I'll speed it up because it's already been, let me check, 54 minutes. And at this point, unless a miracle happens, the fate of the French seems pretty decided. Although that was a good volley. Here comes the British charging in right into the light infantry. That was a good move. If you can break them, that'll weaken their morale. And I think, yeah, this unit reforms, but at this point it is clear that the balance of power is in favor of the British. Yeah, so I was just spectating this whole part, taking some screenshots. It was quite fun though. Whoa. It's getting quite the volley off on those British. So these are the cannons that are all stuck. So that's all that was pretty much left, and then like one other infantry unit. Oh, the British were facing the wrong way, and I think Blakar was just focusing elsewhere. And so I think this is Joelius Caesar. Lines up his line infantry right behind him. And he ends up like right here, firing into them in the back, and they rout, which is pretty funny. This unit reformed, but has gone unnoticed thus far. Meanwhile, the French are preparing a last-ditch defense. You can watch this. The British don't bother with that silly firing stuff. They just charge right in. It looks like those light infantry were kind of glitching. The British and their fresh troops charge right in. Very nice. Oh yeah, here we go. Just, you know, taking your time, firing point blank in the back while the enemy stands there. That's what kind of gives it away that this is a game. Alright, and I think that's, other than one line infantry that, maybe it's this one that retreats, I think that was it for Joelius Caesar's forces. I think this is the last regiment of foot for Gustav. I don't think they even make contact with the line infantry, or this line infantry charges it. Yeah, they broke. Look at that. Broke them. Killed a few too. Look at that. And broke the other one. So, a great effort there, line infantry. But at this point, it's just those cannons in the distance, and this line infantry left. So I'll fast forward. But we gotta watch the final brave charge by the cannoneers, because they get executed pretty much. It's pretty bad. And these guys are trying to fall back, but under artillery fire, the lights reform and harass them, so they eventually break as well. Oh, here's another line infantry way over there. Ooh, that was a good one. Cannons are hitting the light infantry. Probably shouldn't double stack them. Oh, and that volley breaks them. I think the rear volley from that line or light infantry broke this one, but reforms. And here come the cannoneers. Don't worry, I'll kick it into slow motion for their final glorious charge once we get closer, but here they go. What brave men. 17, 20, 17, 20. Wow. They took the exact same ratios of casualties. And this was you know, Gustav yelling bonsai in the chat. It was great. And Blake R is like, ready, present, fire. Oh, yeah, glorious. Oh, just mowing down these brave men though. Look at this. I don't know what kind of weapon that is. It's like a saber. A scimitar. That's what it looks like with the curve. They actually make it to the light infantry, which I was impressed with. But they rout and yeah. And thus is the game. It was a great second match. So each alliance won one round. There you can see, I don't know why they both say the Siberian there, but it always gets a little funky with this. So I lost, this is me, I lost 2,381, I killed 1,700. So I definitely killed less than I lost. But that's a pretty good number for being a 2v1, and a lot of these happened after my troops routed. Joelius Cesar definitely put the hurt on me, where he got a lot of kills, and Gustav just, unfortunately, he wasn't in that much contact with me, so he wasn't able to get that many kills, and he suffered the losses from the cannons. Yeah, this was super fun. Like, you can't understand how fun it is unless you try it. So, encourage you guys watching, hop on sometime, message in the Discord to set up a game, and it is so much fun. But anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying. Go ahead and hit the like and subscribe. You know the drill. All that stuff that every YouTuber asks for always helps out. But thank you guys, and I will catch you on the next one.